I think, right, Facebook is connecting with Zoom, and I think we are live, and yes, well done everybody. As in everybody who takes part in me right now. Good morning, it's Lana Hempsel with the Norwich Guide Dog Forum, and this morning I have in conversation an absolutely fascinating guest, and this is going to be really good because I know so little about my subject matter and no amount of internet research was going to help me here. But I have today with me Jonty Young, who is Head of Marketing and Comms at Norwich Lanes. Jonty has kindly agreed to come on to In Conversation for us at Norwich Guide Dog Forum after I spoke to Richard Porritt, who's a mutual friend of ours, right, Jonty?
Yeah.
Who said that Jonty would just be absolutely amazing because of what you do and what you do for Norwich generally, and yeah, perhaps talk to us about, bearing in mind that we're, on tomorrow lockdown starts again and it's going to affect things massively and dreadfully again. So can you tell us about the lanes, where the whole concept came from, what your involvement has been with them, and where we are at the moment? That would just be absolutely amazing. And yeah, take it away, Jonty, please. Thank you. Save me.
The start point of the Norwich Lanes some time ago, which the Norwich Heritage Movement had marked the area out and said, right, this is me, the Norwich Lanes. So it goes from up St Giles all the way down through to London Street, back down past Cinema City, St Benedict's, and everything in between. So I was called in 2011 and found to help them with the marketing. I found a terrible website and not a lot going on, to be honest with you. Awful social media.
So this is the oldie worldy part of Norwich, isn't it? It's the stuff that's a bit
well, there's a lot of things there, I'd like to say, but yes, there is the history at the forefront of everything. Beautiful buildings to start with.
Over is that part all a conservation area, Jonty? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, most of it.
Most of it.
And so we've got over 600 independent businesses there.
Wow.
The biggest city centre enclave independent business anywhere in the UK. So it's
really
quite. Usually we attract an awful lot of tourists, and Norwich has taken over Cambridge as a destination spot, so that's all very, or was all very good. And so at the moment we've got the biggest struggle we've ever had. In 2014 we managed to win the Great British High Street of the Year award, which was really good, and I only spent 200 quid on marketing and 50 quid of that was on pumpkins, so I'm very pleased with that.
That's good.
Then we've helped people all around UK and Europe because they want to replicate what we've done, and I really thought County Council would listen to me because I could do a lot with market towns that they don't want to hear, so that's not good. But
is this Norfolk County Council?
No, we this is a voluntary organisation. Which we basically take £75 a year off each business, and no one gets paid, and we do creative things that find a way into the press, and our social media is very large, and we've attracted loads of really good businesses into the range, all independents. So we've got the best restaurants in Norwich, we've got the best shops. We've got Norwich Arts Centre, which is
I know do you know what, that's been on my list of things to do for such a long time. It just, you get to an age where you run out of people to go with.
It's incredible. You could go on your own, you'd be safe. It's a beautiful venue. And then we've got the Madder Market Theatre, so we've got our own theatre, we've got Cinema City, so all those things you can go and eat, drink, shop, play, spend all day in the lanes, and some beautiful boutique B&Bs as well. So it started off as a difficult job, and now became a very easy job, and now is very difficult again because of the circumstances. So my mantra, which I hope everyone would like to hear, is
let's have a mantra.
It's basically the maths behind this. So for, when you spend £1 with an independent business, between 50 and 70p circulates back into the local economy. If you spend £1 with a supermarket or chain or a mall, only 5p comes back in. So at this moment in time, if we want to keep Norfolk with its own little economy, which is always just about hangs on there in difficult times, we need to spend money with the independents.
Oh, do you know, I'm so up for that, because in Broadland, we have the same, buy locally in Broadland, because it's, every pound that as you say, every pound that you spend locally with an independent or local shop just stays local. So we were encouraging people to buy their Christmas presents and just, as much as they possibly could, locally, because it's just so much more significant, isn't it, than perhaps. So yeah,
we have our own maintenance man. We've done everything we possibly can on everyone we use of independence. So that's always, we're preaching and doing what we say we're going to do, which is really nice. And so every time if anyone needs to call out a plumber or does anything else, it's always independents. And we also give discounts throughout the lanes to other members. So everyone can go and get a cheaper lunch than they would do normally. And so basically you get loads of cheap lunches for your money, as well as loads of free marketing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good, and it's really amazing what you do. So I hate to say it. Where has the latest lockdown announcement left you? I'm going to say this. It is expected of me to be really positive and encouraging about this lockdown and really supportive. But do you know what, Jonty? I'm really hacked off. I've just about had enough. So it just feels like my kids' lives have been messed up. Just everything is just so, and there just doesn't seem to be an end to it. And when you run an organisation, or when you look after something like Norwich Lanes, it must be even harder for you, right? Yeah.
Well, it's really not needed, but at the same time, you have to look at where the positives are. So the last couple of days has been really busy in the lanes. So there's people out, I would imagine, Christmas shopping early, which is really nice to see. So our support base is really good. So over the next month, I'm going to spend my time. We've sent an e-shot to our members. We want to know every little bit. So the restaurants are doing ready meals, with really high-end ready meals, people like Benedict, like that. The takeaways are open. A lot of the shops are selling online, so we'll be promoting their web links. And yeah, it's still encouraging people to shop even while places are closed. There was a few places which won't be able to do that because their services don't do that. And last lockdown, I wrote an open letter to Lanes landlords and said, can our people please have some rent off, because without them you have no business and you will not get any return on investment. And it worked, I would say 80%. Few big property developers who aren't even based in the city, who have moved their way in there a little bit. One old firm, family-owned business, which didn't really go for it, and Norwich City Council at this point haven't.
They're a big landlord, right? Yeah.
They are a big landlord, and it's not actually. There's a company who works for them who does the management of the property, and I won't go into too much detail at the moment, but it's pretty appalling. So yeah, just tackling things like that. So you feel like you're doing something rather than just sitting there doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah. Oh, well, there must be, because I suppose. So, would you say that, because we had the really long lockdown, didn't we, earlier in the spring? Did the businesses adapt? Were they? Did you find that sense of community doing that together, or because that must have been quite a bit of a shock, wasn't it? Because it was a starting from nothing.
It was. I mean, it was a real shock, and obviously no one knew at that point whether there'd be any grants or anything. So it really was a very unpleasant time. But as people were allowed to open, different people were allowed to open, it changed. And there's a lot of collaboration in the lanes, and which is really really nice to see. It's what we promote. So
Mhm.
in theory, some people have done, I wouldn't say done all right out of it. I would, the people I've talked to in retail have said they're 30% down on last year, and that is not bad for a time where
Mm.
a lot of the bigger stores are saying that they are millions and millions of pounds in debt. So very
Yeah,
proud of that.
yeah. Well, Marks and Spencer just announced that they've made a loss for the first time in, ooh, do you know how many decades? Like 7, 8, 9, like loads.
Yeah,
So, and most of it's down to clothing. But yeah, I'll put my. The trouble is, you get because I'm conscious in my small way that I'm putting far less money through the economy. There are things that I'd be doing this time last year that I simply am not. There'd be, I'd probably be getting myself a couple more dresses or boots or something, and I simply am not because there's no point. Really, I'm not going out for meetings. Everything's home based. It's just not really happening. So and then on one hand you get encouraged, oh, don't buy yourself any clothes in October, let's prevent stuff going to landfill. And on the other side there's British designers going, please buy our stuff because otherwise we're going to go bust. Just, yeah.
I think the thing in the lanes, the word which keeps coming up is loyalty. We have great loyalty in the lanes, and the people when the shops were allowed to open, there was queues, and that was really, really heartwarming because there's a lot of people making a lot of decisions who've never had their livelihoods on the line, and they don't understand that what it actually means not to earn any money. There's a lot of people ticking boxes because they work for companies that will always exist.
Yeah.
So I'm really, those people are coming out in force, and it's really lovely to see. It's a beautiful area. There's not many places you can just walk along and have a coffee, then nip in and buy something just at that pace. And I think that's what's the attraction of it all, really.
Yeah, I think that's what's just so amazing about Norfolk and Norwich particularly, isn't it? Because we were talking earlier, you are Norwich born and bred. I'm not. We came here in 2005 just to get a bit of space, really, just to get a bit of better quality of life. And what immediately struck me was that you'd go to your local shop and you'd be waiting quite a while to get served at the till because there would be a few people who knew the person on the till personally, and there would be conversations had about families and outings and all sorts. And you're sort of sitting there as a Londoner, you're going, drumming your fingers, going, come on, come on, come on, hurry up. And 2 years later, it's you're right in there
Joined
because
in, that's the
these
problem.
people are your community and they're your friends, and it's just part of day-to-day life where you go and see people and pop your head around the door just to say hello. And it is, isn't it, Jonty? It's very much
I've
like that in
always,
the lanes.
yeah, I was always told that the people of Norfolk were suspicious and of others, and I don't think it's that at all. It's just that everyone wonders what people are doing here because
Mm,
obviously you're not going on anywhere else. It's not
mm,
like being in the Midlands.
mm,
But I think you always get a warm welcome in Norfolk, and everyone I know who I've brought to Norwich who've never been here before
mm.
absolutely adore the place and the countryside
Yeah.
and the country.
Well, talking about that, I saw, do you know what I went to see? I went to see Ben Elton at the Theatre Royal. Maybe you went to see that as well. He was just amazing. And the funniest thing was he was walking around Norwich going, you've got shops on the high street that are actually open. So you guys don't even know how lucky you are. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. And it'll be in part due to what you do with Norwich Lanes as well, because the high street, seriously, somebody's got it in for the high street somewhere. I guess there's not much help, is there? So,
Well, Norwich has got a great offering. I used to sit on the Norwich bid board, and their work is totally different to mine. But they tick all the boxes and
mm,
understand footfall and things like that.
mm,
And you have to say they do a remarkably good job of it. But
mm,
the things you learn along there is I sit in the same room with people from John Lewis, Gerald's, the Mount,
yeah,
and you learn a lot. And the one thing is that Norwich has got a superb shopping destination It,
Yeah.
I don't know how long for, but while things last, but it was the only place with all major department stores in the East
Yeah.
Midlands.
Yeah. It's quite
And big
amazing.
and what I have noticed in the last couple of years, which was always an issue, is with people going on holiday to Norfolk coast and not coming to Norwich, and that has changed. And when the lockdown eased, there was an awful lot of you could tell they were Norfolk traffic holiday makers who were
Hmm.
coming in, and they, every time they turn up, that people are amazed. It's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Mm.
Um, I also write content and have a lot to do with something called Life and Fine City, and that boosts all the independent stuff. And it's to do with, at the moment, it's very quiet because it's to do with gigs and theatre and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
The arts scene in Norwich, I mean, there's tower blocks full of artists making art and selling it and making a living. It's an incredible
Yeah.
little economy,
But I'm going
and
to
also.
apologise right now. I think my puppy's going to kick off just in a sec. Fingers crossed she won't. Right. Jonty, and you do all of this because a lot of people won't realise that I mean, you do all of this amazing stuff, but you've got a, I put it in your bio as well, you've got a visual impairment yourself, haven't you, Jonty? And it's just, it's,
Yeah, I
I
basically.
could talk to, how does that affect how you work and what you do
I
and
basically have two very strong magnifiers for this eye. This
mm,
one doesn't do anything, and an iPhone, if I'm allowed to
mm,
advertise iPhones, and that's how I do my work. And I have a PA who works for me, and I have a PA for the lanes, and a PA for other stuff. So
mm-hmm,
a lot of my work is voluntary because sometimes I cannot do what I want to do, and if I take
mm,
too much on. So with my eyesight, I got diagnosed with PTSD, and so my main, if I look like this, I can see a bit of the screen there. So it's this bit that with the PTSD, it blurs, so
mm,
I get stressed. So I try and maintain a sort of balance of what I do and spend too much time on an iPhone trying to write little snippets. And so hopefully I'm going to move into the world of podcasts because then I can just talk rubbish all day. And
yes,
yeah,
yes, do
well,
it, and then when you started, you can tell me how it's done because
yeah.
it's
Well, unfortunately, the person who was going to do it with me has moved away. So technically, I can't touch a thing like that. So yeah, but yeah, that's the visual impairment, and so I really anyone who cannot see anything at all,
I
no man
know.
to get on. I got nothing short of admiration. I mean, it's unbelievable what people can do.
It's incredible, isn't it? I just yeah, I kind of muddle around with Zoom, but that's about it. And but as we found, connecting to Facebook is
Yeah.
often try. Right. So can I just what I'm going to do, Jonty, is I'm going to plug with you is Norwich Guide Dog Forum. We are fundraising for a Norfolk puppy because next year is the 70 something years of goodness, I'm literally hopeless at this. It's a big anniversary for guide dogs next year, and we're hoping to name a guide dog puppy. So just wondering, would Norwich Lanes like to be part of that effort in some shape or form? Because I just think it would be.
Absolutely. So
Would you?
I think there's a fair bit we can do with that from Life and Fine City as well. I think
Yeah.
also do content with Norwich now as well. So yeah, I think we can drum up a fair bit of interest in this.
I think that would be really quite good. So it just get everybody because it's an Norfolk puppy and it's meant to be a sort of joint effort from what we do at the forum and Norwich generally. I just think it would be lovely to get you guys involved as well. So especially with
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
no,
independent shops. So yeah,
yeah,
brilliant, brilliant. I will get Annette. Annette, who is, I'm calling her my boss at the guide dog forum. Annette has got to get in touch with you, and we can hopefully
yeah.
set that up. So, what are your right? So you do your Norwich Lanes, and that's your passion. But but you're kind of steeped in music in Norwich as well, haven't you? Richard told me that you have been to every gig that ever happened in your lifetime in Norwich. Is that right? And you've seen some amazing bands here, like people I would never have imagined ever came to Norwich. Is that right?
Yeah, I from a very early age, my big sister Ali was allowed to go, so I was allowed to go. So from tender age of 13 was my first gig. So yeah, so lots of venues which have come and gone, and West London Pavilion on the North Norfolk coast. So St Andrews Hall, even in Norwich, a lot of big bands, The Cure and Adam the Ants Stranglers played there twice. So that's pretty amazing. UEA, and then UEA Sidelines, which was Horsham,
Yes.
the Jack Club, People's, which is an interesting one, which is underneath the tower on Westlegate, the new block of flats. I can't remember what they call it, but that
Oh,
was called People in the Boogie House, and I saw The Cure there with about 30 people.
did you?
Uh,
Oh my goodness. How is Robert
Specials.
these days anyway? I used to love him.
No, he's still going, isn't he?
Well, tell you what, do you remember there was a few years ago when all of these music stars were dying, and I was actually thinking I'm going to track him down and I'm going to send him some multivitamins because I couldn't bear him
I
dying.
think he needs a bit more than that, but you know. Then yeah, I saw the Specials there with about 100 people as well, which is great.
Mm,
But then you've got the top of St Stephen's. I think it's called Quasar now, a place where you go and shoot your
yes,
kids.
yes.
So basically, that used to be called a gala, and I saw loads of different bands up there. But one of the funny things is there's a book out called a set of books called I Was There, and one of them is about the Smiths. And the author got in touch with me and said, "Look, I understand you saw the Smiths at a very early gig," and it was a very early gig
Hmm.
with my 18 Yellow Roses supporting.
Mm.
So went along on my friend Kenny Smith's birthday, and we got very, very drunk on vodka and stuff. And then this chap came out with flowers, gladioli, and people dancing around, and we decided we didn't like it very much. Anyway, so I've written in this book, which is now selling really, really well, called I Was There. And the author phoned up, and I literally had to write it in 2 hours. And he phoned up and he said, "I really, really like this." He said, "You've written this really well." I said, "Thanks very much." And he said, "Also, the other reason I like it, you're the only person in the book who hates the Smiths." So I thought, it's a really good story. So I'm pleased to be in print with that one. Um, but yeah, I still, up until lockdown, still go to gigs, as many gigs as I can. And yeah, and I'm lucky enough to have some very good friends who are really, really into music as well. So not
Yeah,
my own, though, so that's nice.
yeah. Oh, it's I've stole myself and I've seen a couple. I went to the waterfront a couple of times, so yeah, it would be really nice to do that again. I think I stopped going to concerts after I left uni, which I'm just trying to
This
think.
this could be your post-lockdown sort of thing, couldn't it? Just go to as many gigs as you can in December and see what you think.
It could be. It could be.
I just think
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. If that, but that's if we're allowed. I just find that the whole thing's just so tragic in a way. Going through uni, going to gigs was my love, and going to comedy gigs was my love as well. It's the stand-up comedians I used to see were just it was just so much fun, and it wasn't expensive to go. Some of the gigs were expensive, obviously, because if you didn't get the tickets on time, then getting them in other ways it was never cheap. But I just I remembered once I turned up at I went to a festival, and it was the first time Ozzy had played, or he came back to music after decades of not doing anything, and it was down in Milton Keynes. And I loved the entire lineup right up until Ozzy. But the Foo Fighters, who were there literally the one before Ozzy, they got booed off the stage. by this mass of Aussie fans who turned out to see just Aussie, and there were Mexican ways, and they were just the Foo Fighters just end up just packing up and going. I think that's my
Yeah,
favorite. You can't do that to them, but it was just the Aussie mania was just unbelievable. So yeah, it's just the passion and the love in these gigs. It's just extraordinary, and you just
escapism, isn't it? That's the thing. It's escaping the mundane. So, and you never know what.
yeah.
But with the comedy, I also help promote Red Card Comedy Club, which is at Carrow Road every month.
Do
Or
you?
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Again.
it's the largest monthly comedy club in the UK outside London, and then they do the Laugh in the Park Festival in Chatfield, and they're both really, really good events. So, and you don't, there's a few ones which you need visuals for,
Yeah.
but it tells you that in the description. The other ones you can sit there and I did have an embarrassing moment in the last festival, Laugh in the Park, where I left my daughter and her boyfriend and went to the bar, got some drinks from my friends, came back and asked my daughter to move up, who was a bit snotty with me, and then asked her to move again, and they left. And then I was told it wasn't my daughter and I was in the wrong row. So, quite embarrassing, but good story nonetheless.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I wonder what was wrong with that.
Oh dear. That's actually hilarious. That is actually hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah. Right. Jonty, this has been amazing. But I think I'm going to have to chase you for the comedy stuff, because I used to absolutely adore that. And I used to be an addict to all the Radio 4 comedy, which quite frankly is not funny anymore. I don't know what they've done
Oh,
to
well,
it.
Red Card Comedy, they bring big names, but they also launch people. So depending
Yeah.
on who, Milton Jones and McIntyre and all that mob, they cut their teeth
Yeah.
doing this on a Thursday night in Norwich in a
Yeah.
crowd of 500 people. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a great thing.
Oh, it is amazing. Where I used to live, we had a pub up the road, and they were part of one of these comedy circuits. And I saw people who were literally just starting out there, and crikey, I think even people like Andy Hamilton and Mark Watson and loads of people who then became quite famous. I used to go and see him. It was quite good fun, because you could sit right at the front if you were up for a laugh and being heckled and all the rest of it. That was quite good. So loved it, absolutely loved it. I think that's what I probably miss more than anything. And going to see Ben Elton, that was it's like, oh God, I just miss this, just being entertained and just taking a different perspective on things and life. Is just so good, isn't it? I just love it, absolutely love it. Yeah, I think that's my post-lockdown promise. So I think that's what I'll do. Anyway, right, Jonty, it's been so wonderful talking to you. Is there anything that you'd like to kind of leave on the page for anybody who's tuned in today to take on board, or what would you like as an outcome from today for yourself and for the Lanes, and what would you like?
Well, I just really like, obviously, I'd love people to come to the Lanes, because you get looked after with real customer service, and it
Yeah.
is really lovely. But also, just look after your independent businesses, because if you're in a market town or a village and they go, there's nothing left, and that's the heart and soul and the lifeblood of our community. So that's what I'd say is the most important thing. Spread the word. I know people have to shop at supermarkets sometimes, things like that, but there's nothing like, going to the market, Norwich Market, getting fruit and veg, and going off to, there's some great places to go and buy nice food, and you don't have to put it to big corporations that just going to zip it out of the county and this country and send it elsewhere. So yeah, do that.
True. Yeah, no, let's all be there for the Lanes when we come back at the beginning of December and do all the Christmas shopping then, and I'll be in touch with the Norfolk puppy thing. I think that would be really good. Right. Okay. So let's say bye to everybody listening today. Thank you so much, Jonty. That's just been so amazing, from myself at the Guide Dog Forum, and I'm sure everybody else. This has just been so fascinating, such a good insight, and it's just really lovely to meet you. So yeah, thanks very much. Right. Take care, everybody. Bye. And I'll see you next week. I've got next week I'm being joined by Michael Weddingham, who is quite well known to a lot of you, and he's going to talk to us about his music and what that's meant to him. And so yeah, that's going to be quite interesting for sure. And I'm hoping to persuade him to even play for us like Ed did a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we'll see. Watch this space. Anyway, take care. And as we go into lockdown, if things get difficult, just reach out to the Norwich Guide Dog Forum. We are always here, and we will support each other through the next 4 weeks, and hopefully come out of it better and stronger and healthier and all the rest of it. So yeah, thanks very much from everyone here at the forum, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.